In this presentation, we will enter the bank reconciliation for the first month of operations into QuickBooks Online. Here we are. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. We are in our guitar lessons and equipment file. Last time we went over the process that we're going to use for the bank reconciliation. Now we'll go through and just enter the data for it. So we're going to do that by going down to the accounting tab down below. We're in the reconcile, so not the chart of accounts, but the reconciling. And if we scroll down, we had already set up the data, so it should be good to go. We're going to resume the reconciliation that we started last time. So if you have questions about that startup process, take a look at the last presentation. We're going to resume that, and now we're going to be entering the data. So we're going to do this one at a time. If we go back to the bank statement, we want to enter I'm going to go to the deposits first, because that'll be easier, and then we'll do the checks at the other side of it. So we'll go back over here to do that. Instead of having all transactions, we're just going to go to the deposits and say, I just want to see the deposits. There they are. That'll make it a bit easier to run through this. And then we're just going to enter these deposits. Now, the first one, the first thing we need to do is check off this beginning balance. Remember that that's only going to happen on the first bank statement. This is where we're trying to fix the fact that we didn't have a beginning balance there because we didn't, this is the first bank reconciliation. We didn't put it into opening balance. We put it into the register. So this is how you kind of fix that. If the beginning balance is off, then you're just going to check off. You're going to check off whatever the difference is, and you're going to say, hey, this is the difference. Like this is the cutoff. I'm going to make this change to make it work, and then everything will be fine going forward. If you got questions about that, that's in a prior system or some problem before this. I'm just going to put the cutoff right now. That's going to be the beginning balance here, and we're going to start the bookkeeping being completely clean from this point forward. And not that it wasn't clean before in our case here, of course, because that just, whatever business happened prior to this is resulting in that 15,000, and it's not in our current data because it's in whatever the prior books are. So we're going to go back over here and say, all right, so there's the 15, just going to check it off. That's all we're going to do. That changes the difference up here, and that'll, once that goes to 0, we'll be good. Also note, however, that this will not always go down. If this goes up or down, if it gets further off, that's okay, because it could be a check and a deposit that's off. So this really needs to be exactly 0 for the bank reconciliation to take any effect. If it's anything other than 0, like even if it's a penny off, that doesn't mean we're really close. That means, I mean, that penny could be a result of a deposit for 100 and a check for 100 and a penny. So, I mean, it could be multiple things. So it really, to reconcile, it has to be kind of 0, which shouldn't be too difficult because we're just going to take and tie off everything that's there, and once we do, it has to reconcile. So we're going to say this is the 15. So there's that. And now we're just going to go through these. We'll do this pretty quickly because they should all tie out exactly because we entered it exactly in the system. All we're basically doing is saying, did we do any data input problem? Did we skip something? Did we miss something? And then if we did, we'll just fix it. So here's the 1122. I think we messed up on, I did right off the bat, right? So that the one on January 5th, I messed up on, right? I put the second one in here totally on purposely. I did that. And so we'll go back over here and say, okay, I'm just going to fix that. This one's not right. How can we fix it? Well, if we double click on it, notice it gives us the data, and then we can just change this. Well, this amount is wrong, and it should be 1122. So it should be 1122, and then we can just save that, and it'll update. Oh, okay, there it is. That's how easy it is to change, because again, we're driving by this document. Notice how much faster it is to do here than even to go back into the register. This is probably quicker, so that's still worth reconciling. Again, if everything was correct, all you'd have to do is check this off to reconcile. But if it's not correct, it's easy to, okay, well, now we fix that, done. So we found this one now, and we'll highlight it, 1207. So again, we can check the dates here, but really all we really care about is the amount, as long as it's in the right month, because that'll make our financial statements right for the month. So we don't want to get sloppy here with the dates and whatnot and the vendors and everything, but notice what we're really doing under the system is putting in the data so that mainly the profit and loss will be recording the correct data, because that's the report we're probably most concerned about in a system like this. So we're going to say here's the 1207. And then if we go back over here, we're going to say, all right, there's the 1207. Got it. Done. I'll highlight half of it. And then the 1030. So there's the 1030. Good. And then we're looking for the 910. So there's the 910. So we can do this a little faster. There's the 910. Notice I'm going from the bank statement back. You could start going back and forth, but you really should practice going here to here. That's the safest way to do it. Otherwise, things can get mixed up. So there's that one. Whoop. There's the QuickBooks desktop version. And so there we have that, which is there for no apparent reason. And then 1500, 1500 looks good. And then there's that big 50,000 that says there. So 50,000, we're going to say there's that. Looks good. We're going to go back over and highlight that item. There's the 980. So there's the 980. Looks good. So we'll highlight that. Got the 980. There's the 1230. So here's the 1230. We have that. We'll highlight that item. There's the 821. So here's 821. So we have that. 821. And then let's do two at a time. 10 and the 640. 10 and the 640. So that should be good. We should have all those items. They look good. So now we'll do the deposit side of things. We'll highlight half of those. So, or the check side of things. We'll do this a little bit quicker now. And we'll go to payments. So now from deposits to payments, same thing. We're just going to check them all off. And so notice we found basically this number should tie out now for the deposits. 70,000, and we have over here 85,290, and that's of course because that's the 70,290 plus the 15, so 85,290. So we found those amounts match out, and so now we're going to go. All right, here's the 400 is there, so there's the 400. Here's the 500. We're going to say there's the 500, so we're good on that one. Let's do a few of these at a time. We're going to say here's the 12, 4, and the 598. So here's the 12, the 4, the 598. Notice if one of these were, you want to be careful if we miskeyed something, that's going to be something that we could pick up. So we want to make it exact. So here's the 12, 4, the 598. I'll just highlight all those. And then here's the 9, the 15, and the 360. So here's 9, 15, 360. The 360 is in there twice. That seems like something might be wrong. So I'm going to highlight those and say that looks right, but why are there two 360s here? So Epiphone. So the next one's for Epiphone. This one's wrong. No, so I'm going to click on it, and we're going to say it should have been for 600. So we're going to say this should have been for 600, and we'll save that. And so there we have that. Now that's 600. We found it. Looks good. So we're going to say there's the 600. We'll half highlight it. And then we've got 60, 1050, 670. 60, 1050, 670. Those look good. So we'll highlight those. And then we've got the 680, the 15, and the 8. Whoop, there's QuickBooks desktop again. 680, the 15, and the 8. So we have those items. And then we've got the 850, the 3539, and the 630. So we've got the 850, the 3539, and the 630. Almost there. Almost there. And then we've got the 300 and the 150. So then we've got the 300. They're out of order, but 150 and 300. And now this difference, notice I'm unchecking this 300. And then we get to that last one and we go, woohoo, this goes down to 0, and that should make us feel good. So we've reconciled. So now we've reconciled. We get this green icon up top, which is like, you can reconcile now. That's what that means. And so we'll say finish and reconcile and done. Note that what we did right there wasn't a reconciliation. That was basically the reconciliation data input. So once we hit the reconciliation, then it'll process the reconciliation. And usually it actually tells us, do you want to look at the report? It doesn't do it here because we didn't actually reconcile anything, that the two amounts are actually the same. So what if we want to see the report, we're going to go to reports on the left side, and then we could type in up top, I'll just search for it this way. We're going to type in reconciliation, And this is the one we want, reconciliation reports. So if it's not bank, so don't type in bank reconciliation, you're looking for reconciliation reports. And then if you select that, there's our reconciliation report that we want. We'll select the view report, and there it is. Now note, there is no, this reconciliation report, this bank reconciliation report is not interesting because there's no difference, because usually a bank reconciliation will reconcile the difference between this ending balance amount and what's on our books as of the date, in this case, January 31st, the cutoff date. There is no difference now because we entered this information directly into our system. The outstanding items, outstanding checks and deposits, those written but not cleared, usually being the difference, but which aren't here because we haven't entered the data that hasn't been cleared yet. So any checks, in other words, that have been written, like if there was a check that was written for 1029, check 1029 was written on the 31st, it still wouldn't, it's not going to clear till February. We'll pick it up in February once it enters. But if we were entering the data ourselves, we would have entered it into the system. So that's what a reconciliation normally does. So this bank reconciliation then doesn't give us any new information, but it just summarizes, it gives us the fact that, look, this is really the main point. The statement ending balance is 36,203. That's what's on the bank statement for the ending balance. And that's also what's on our register, 36,203. In other words, if we look at our balance sheet, that's what's on the balance sheet as of January 31st. So there's no difference. There's no reconciling needed. All we did this report for was to just make sure that we did the data input properly and that all data was now input properly, which it is now because these two numbers are now the same, meaning the bank statement amount is the same as the amount in the books on the register in the balance sheet under the checking account. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.